Okay, team, let's go ahead and get started. Again, it is great to have everybody here. A quick intro. My name is John Jakubik, one of the account executives here at Opkalla. And representing MetTel today, we have Jason, Paul, and Monique, who will be introduced to you guys in a second once they take reins of this conversation. But again, first and foremost, thank you for being here. Really looking forward to providing value when it comes to MetTel's offerings today. And as far as an objective and a game plan for today's hour, Opkalla, myself, we're going to take the first 3 to 4 minutes, introduce ourselves at a high level so you get an understanding of who we are and what we do. And then I'm going to hand it off to the MetTel team to obviously take reign from there and explain what they have going on in regards to their offerings. And they'll kick it back to me at the end to explain how to claim your prize, if you will, for attending the conversation here today. All right. So with that, Jason, if you don't mind, brother, go to that first slide here.
Sure.
Awesome. So here at Opkalla, okay, when it comes to our prospects and clients, some industry challenges that we're seeing today, and these are just generalizations, but these are the most prominent ones that we're seeing today. And if you're on this conversation today, I'm fairly confident you're probably seeing one, if not multiple, of these challenges today, right? And as we know, IT has most certainly come to the forefront of importance in regards to businesses today. And with that importance being heightened, of course, there's going to be challenges that come to the forefront because of that. So whether you're operating in a lean IT environment, right? Maybe you're having hiring difficulties, budget difficulties, all the above, you're getting stretched thin when it comes to your IT staff environments, right? Or maybe it's vendor or tech evals. Things are popping up every single day when it comes to those techs or new vendors coming to the table. How do you navigate those evaluations? Where do you go when it comes to finding solutions that fit best for you, right? Or maybe it's navigating biased agendas at some point along the way. Of course, the solutions are going to come to the table and say they're the best thing since sliced bread for you in your situation, but isn't, right? So how do you navigate those agendas is definitely a big challenge. And then lastly, not enough time. Right? You guys are probably getting stretched crazy thin. There's not enough time in the day. It's too much to tackle on your own, right? So that's a big one that we're seeing in today's environment as well. Okay. So Jason, if you don't mind, to the next slide, please.
Sure.
Awesome. And this is a big one for us, and I very much want to highlight this page. And I want to start when it comes to the idea behind this page is not to downgrade or talk bad about the consultants of the world, the MSPs, the VARs. Of course, they bring value when it comes to certain situations. We just very much want to highlight where Opkalla plugs in the situation and how we can fill multiple buckets when it comes to these topics you're seeing on the screen here, right? So broad technical expertise, we have over 300 plus partners in our portfolio, right? So we're not just in one silo. We can bring that broad technical expertise to the table when it comes to multiple solutions for you, right? Vendor agnostic. We're not just going to shove one provider in your face and say, figure it out with this one. We're going to sit down with you, hear what you have to say, where your IT environment is in the current situation, where you're trying to go, and bring multiple vendors to the table, solutions to the table to hopefully fit your specific need, right? So it doesn't matter to us what solution looks like for you. We want to make sure it fits your specific environment, your specific needs, right? Ongoing engagement. We're there from the beginning to the end. We don't want to sell you something and get lost the next day. We want to have you as a client for life, right? So we're going to be there at the beginning, at the end, as well as the follow-up. So we're not just helping you out with one solution. Hopefully we can help you with your entire environment, right? And then lastly, which is the biggest one for us, that collaborative nature of how we operate. We work alongside IT teams, right? We don't sit on the other side of the table from you. We sit on the same side of the table as you to represent you in the best way possible. So we're there to negotiate on your behalf. Again, find the best solutions possible. We want to work with you, not against you, right? So that collaborative effect is huge on our end. All right, Jason, next slide, please, sir. Awesome. Our how page, right? So when you partner with Opkalla, you're going to get this from us in every single situation when it comes to our core values and trust, transparency, agnostic, convenience, and speed. We live that stuff out every single day in all that we do. And as a result of those core values and our process, you can see the stats on the screen here when it comes to money saved. We're actually just eclipsed 2,700 plus evaluations. So we've seen a lot. We've done a lot. We can help you in your specific situations. We have the experience, over 250 plus happy clients as well. And that is a direct result of our process and the core values that we live out every single day at Opkalla, right? So Jason, last slide here, sir. And lastly, of course, this is a topic of conversation for another day, but we wanted to put this on the screen for you guys here so you can see where we can fit in, what buckets we play in. And that's, again, a topic of conversation for another day. But, you know, if you want to take a look at that, these are the things that we can help you out with when it comes to your solutions. And of course, Jason, next slide, the reason we are here is for this mobility piece, right? To hear MetTel out in regards to their offerings and how they can help you out when it comes to your mobility needs for your business. All right. So with that, MetTel team, it is all you guys, and I'm going to hand it off to y'all.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it, and a pleasure to have us. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Real quick, just want to do a couple quick introductions. So my name is Paul Summers. I am a director here at MetTel. We also have Jason McKenna. He's actually our director of mobility and IoT. I'll let him do a more formal introduction once we go over to him. So just to start this off, I want to give a quick overview of who MetTel is. On a high level, MetTel's been around since '96. So we just hit 25 years last summer. We're over a $1 billion organization, and we're experiencing 15 years of consecutive double-digit revenue growth. And a big part of why we like to share that with our customers is we're constantly evolving for our customers as their needs change as well. And the two things we're going to focus on today, which is mobility and POTS replacement, those are big drivers in our business growth. Last thing I want to talk about on this page, obviously we're headquartered in New York, but we have locations all over the country. All of our support is 24/7, 365, and it's 100% MetTel badged employees, all based within the United States. So there's a quick overview of who MetTel is. Jason, we can go to the next slide, please. Here's a few of our customers. Every supplier has a slide like this with different logos on it. The one thing I want to make note of on this slide is these are all customers who've been with us for the most part for multiple terms and have multiple products with us. So, you know, as an example, Tenet Health doesn't just have a couple POTS lines. We do a lot more for them, wireless and network. Signet Jewelers, they own Zales, Jared, K, et cetera, and they have a large product portfolio with us. So we hit every single So for those who don't know what an MVNO is, on a high level, we are AT&T and Verizon's largest wholesaler. What that means for you is we're a bigger customer than anybody else is of these carriers, and that allows us to pass significant cost savings on to our customers. Lastly, we are one of 3 providers for the federal government on the wireless side. So we are on the GSA EIS. We do service the federal government. A couple of those would be Department of Defense and FEMA. And the last item, I guess there's one more item here, customer service awards. We have 7 years of consecutive awards from Stevie, which is a awards organization that gets feedback from customers. And it's very important to us to have a high customer satisfaction for us. Jason, next slide, please. So let me introduce you to Jason McKenna. Again, he's our wireless, our director of mobility and IoT. And Jason, the floor is yours here, sir.
Appreciate it. So great to be talking to everyone. Appreciate everyone taking the time out today. Once again, my name's Jason McKenna, so director of wireless mobility and IoT here at MetTel. So we're really going to focus the next few slides on our mobility offering, and really the theme of really everything we do at MetTel is flexibility and being able to provide our customers with the proper solution, combination of solutions that best fits their organization. And part of that, specifically within the wireless portfolio, is our mobility offering. And we've had this up and running for a little over 11 years. Paul talked about kind of where we sit with the carriers being that top MVNO in the space. And really what that means specifically to our customers is access to larger discounts, general wholesale pricing from the carriers. So again, continuing with that theme of flexibility, you're able to access or procure services from all of the major carriers. So AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. And what's really unique is not only being able to consolidate all of that service, work with one vendor for all of those different carrier services, be it ordering equipment, provisioning the plans, managing the plans. But what's great is the way that we actually package the service. So a lot of our customers are currently working with multiple carriers or would like to have multiple carrier options. You know, let's say you're just with AT&T today, and some of your users could benefit from Verizon Wireless based on geography or coverage. So what we can do is not only provide all of those carrier services at deep discounted wholesale rates, but also the ability to pool all of your services together. So again, one invoice, one vendor, but also one single pool of data. And we call that cross-carrier pooling. This is very unique to the MetTel offering. And what this does is just makes it a lot easier to manage. So for those customers that maybe are dealing with multiple carriers today, never mind the fact that you have multiple invoices, multiple points of contact, but as you dig in, it becomes difficult to manage the pools and the plans and the invoices. So we can come in and provide a single pool of data, cross-carrier pooling across all carriers and all devices. So you may have smartphones and tablets and routers and mobile hotspots and GPS devices. We can provide a single pool for all of those devices across all carriers. So again, now you have a large data pool, which provides more flexibility for your users. You may have a subset of your users that go over their allotment, and that's okay. Common data pool logic, right? The more lines you have in a single pool, more flexibility you have for those end users. So it really becomes a combination of deeper discounts, lower pricing on your plans, as well as a much cleaner environment and more flexibility for those end users. The other thing, continuing with flexibility, we're able to not only mix carriers, but change carriers. So if you have someone that's on Verizon Wireless today, one of your end users, one of your employees, and they move tower signal shifts, whatever the case, all of a sudden that device isn't working the way it used to. We can switch them over to AT&T or T-Mobile in as little as a day. And that's just as simple as providing a new SIM card. They'll keep their number, they'll keep their plan, and we'll put them on that alternate network. Doing that with the carriers is much more cumbersome. You have to create a port. You may have to pay early termination fees if that line is under contract. You don't have to do any of that with MetTel. You're under contract with one entity, and we can move from one carrier to another, like I said, same day or as little as a day, just by issuing that new SIM card. So that really allows us to come back and say, we can provide coverage across the country, 99.5% coverage, by leveraging a combination of carriers. In terms of the overarching service offering, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but to dig in a little more, this isn't just about wholesale rates. MetTel really comes in, and as an MVNO, what that really means is we're not only wholesaling the services, but we're really taking on the role of your carrier. So you may be working with AT&T today, AT&T and Verizon, some combination. We can move all of that service over to MetTel and essentially pick up and become your carrier. While the underlying network is not ours, we're wholesaling those services, everything else flows through MetTel. So that means ordering new equipment. We stock all of the devices that the carriers have in their catalog in our warehouse. So we have direct contracts with Apple, Samsung, Cradlepoint, Digi, you name it, we have those in our warehouse. So our customers deal with MetTel from A to Z, ordering devices, creating, managing those data plans, and then as Paul talked about, the customer support on the back end, be it a dedicated account team, 24/7, 365 care support out of our mobile help desk, which again, all of those folks are based in Salt Lake, all MetTel badged employees. So this gets you out of the space of dealing with carriers directly and having more of that white glove level customer support. I kind of jumped over the connectivity slide piece. So again, being able to offer all of the different carriers. We have contracts with Rogers up in Canada. We also have a single SIM, which is a data only application. So think of tablets, routers, GPS tracking, black boxes, vehicles that you're monitoring. We can enable one single SIM card that actually leverages every carrier. So this takes the guesswork out of, do I need AT&T? Do I need Verizon? You use this single SIM and it automatically connects to the strongest signal. So if you have a user that's on an iPad and they're working out of their home office and AT&T is the strongest signal, that's their carrier. They go on the road, they're visiting with a client, and all of a sudden AT&T signal degrades and it's no longer usable. It's going to look for the next strongest signal. And that may be T-Mobile, that may be Verizon. All of that happens seamlessly in the background. So for your end users, their device just works everywhere that they go. We talked about the equipment component. When it comes to software, we provide a variety of options around managing devices, mobile device management. We have a variety of options for the best software, the best applications to manage those devices, which can help with procurement, buying new devices, creating business rules so that when you're ordering devices for your drivers, they need to be profiled in a specific way. They need specific applications, specific accessories. So we handle all of the custom staging and kitting out of our warehouse based on your business rules. So customers may have 10 different profiles. We have a sales team, an executive team, field services, drivers, et cetera, et cetera. So when you go in and place an order, you grab that profile. We need 10 new iPads for the salespeople. And we know to kit those with Microsoft Outlook, Salesforce, their CRM, anything that they need to do their job, so that that device can now be shipped right to the end user and effectively eliminate the step of bringing those in-house, custom programming them by you, your staff, your IT team, whatever it may be, and really eliminate or shrink that window from order to actually putting that device in the end user's hands. So this column here around additional services, we're going to talk more about that, but essentially that's offloading as much as possible from you and your staff to our team over here at MetTel. So digging into specifically that, really about two years ago or so during COVID, we went to market with mobile device as a service, or MDaas, another acronym for everybody. We love our acronyms in telecom, but with MDaas, essentially this allows you to pick the device, smartphone, tablet, Samsung, Apple, doesn't matter. And with that device comes really everything that we've talked about today. No upcharge for any of the added benefits that we've talked about. So really there's 7 key components, and I'll go through these. Cross carrier pooling. So again, being able to order on any carrier, pooling all of that service together, tying in the customer support from the project team, the account team, the day-to-day support folks. We're going to talk more about our customer portal. We really haven't touched on this huge value add. Paul talked about the Gartner recognition around mobile management. And that's really at the heart and soul of that is our Bruin platform. And this is our customer portal where we build in automation around ordering. So we build out a digital store or a catalog in your portal where you see just the devices you want to see. In other words, maybe you only order Apple devices. We'll eliminate everything else. So you'll only see that subset of devices in your catalog. And it becomes really easy, point click. I need these iPads for this type of employee, shipped to this location. You hit enter and we take care of the rest. We're actually processing these orders in real time. So as soon as that order is submitted through the portal, or even if you want to send an email to your account team, it's actually the same timeline. When MetTel receives the order, we pull the device from inventory and we get to work on the configuration, setting it up on the proper network, downloading any specific applications such as mobile device management, custom apps like Outlook and the other tools that employee may need. We're bundling a case and a screen protector with the device, and no additional charge for the accessory bundle. And then we take it a step further and include a protection program. Again, no additional line item for this. And what this does is essentially protects the devices you're ordering. So if someone breaks their screen, cracks their screen, water damage, even if a device goes missing, we will overnight ship a replacement, same model, stage, kit, and configured down with the original specs, overnight ship the replacement right to that end user. No line item, no monthly line item for the protection program, nor is there a deductible when you go to replace those devices. Huge value add there around the accessory bundle, as well as the protection. When we get a device back, whether it's a broken device, whether it's an upgrade, a trade-in, whatever it may be, our staff actually goes through an inspection process and clears all of the personal and corporate data off of that device. So again, one less thing for your end users or your IT staff to have to do. We'll ship them that new device. In the box comes a return label. They drop their old phone in and ship that out with the return label via FedEx. So we are going to pull up our customer portal. Again, this portal is called Bruin. This is an internal proprietary software that MetTel built out a little over 10 years ago now. And this really consolidates all of the management around your environment, in this case, your mobile environment. So you have all of your inventory, all of the different devices you have, all of the carriers on one single pane of glass. We incorporate telecom expense management, and this is where that Gartner recognition around the mobile management MMS services comes in. So we have live data feeds of your data usage, and we're actually proactively monitoring and managing those plans for you on your behalf. So if you have a spike in usage and you're trending towards data overages, we'll come back to you and notify you long before this happens, so inside the billing cycle, and then B, make those optimizations. So it's far more cost effective to dial up your data pool, go from 500 gigabytes to 600, for example, rather than paying those data overages. Again, all of this is proactive and it's within the billing cycle. So we'll make those plan changes, optimize your overall data account, data plan, and we'll do that inside of the billing cycle, really effectively eliminating data overages, but most importantly, taking you out of the equation of managing those pool plans. And then, of course, there's the digital store.
Quick question.
Sure.
Sorry, quick question for you here before you go to that spot. What do we typically see cost savings wise for customers when we're doing these kind of things?
Great question. So by leveraging our wholesale rates, being able to manage and optimize the plans, generally customers are going to see savings of 15 to 20% off of their carrier spend. And it's important to note, while we offer service like T-Mobile, we, for 11 plus years, right, we have been primarily provisioning services on Verizon and AT&T. So this isn't a conversation of you're with Verizon today and we can save you 20% by moving you to T-Mobile. We're always keeping those tier one AT&T Verizon carriers as your primary. Certainly down the road, whole nother conversation. I think T-Mobile will be a really strong option down the road with their 5G presence. But again, keeping you on the carriers you're with today, generally 15 to 20% cost reduction in your current spend. Now, in terms of ordering, again, I talked about we're going to pull up the portal and kind of show you what this looks and feels like, but really simple process for actually getting new devices, whether it's new hires, upgrades, replacement devices, whatever it may be. On the carrier side, this can be time consuming, right? You can have the order gets placed. Sometimes it sits or there's a backlog, whatever the case may be. We've had feedback from customers where, they're sitting on orders for a week, maybe two, and that's difficult, particularly in a new hire environment, right? You want to have that device ready to go, make them feel part of the company day one. So with our program, you can go into your portal, submit a ticket via email, whatever's most convenient. When we receive that, as I mentioned earlier, we're immediately pulling that device, stage, kit, configure it, accessory bundles, and shipping it out the door via FedEx. Typically same day. If you'll notice up at the top, we do have a cutoff time of 1 p.m. So for same day shipment. So provided the order is placed by 1 p.m. Eastern, we're shipping that device fully kitted, configured, active within that same day. After 1 p.m. becomes best effort, it'll go out probably the next morning. But at worst, you're looking at a 1 day turnaround time if it's after 1 p.m. And then very similar slide, you're not seeing double. So this is talking about break fix. So if you have a device that was broken, lost, stolen, whatever the case, same process, right? You can go into the portal, open a ticket. We're going to pull the same model from inventory, kit it to their original specs, and ship that device out. The key difference here is we're doing an advanced RMA. So we're going to ship the replacement out to the employee with priority overnight shipping. and there is no cutoff time. So these are going to go out as soon as that comes in. So if this comes at 8 p.m., we're pushing that out via FedEx when that next shipment goes out. Priority overnight to the employee, and those can come in-house, but typically we see these going directly to the end user in terms of timing. And again, we'll take that old device back if it was broken and go ahead and recycle that device. So in addition to the 15 to 20% cost savings, when I said 15 to 20%, that's around your monthly plans. So carrier services, 15 to 20%. This is in addition to those savings. So we're providing additional value with the MDaas model, staging and kitting, device protection, the case and the screen protector. So these have a market value on an average account or on a line count of 500. That's an additional value of 12,500 on top of those 15 to 20% carrier savings. So huge value add around offloading that procurement to MetTel and taking advantage of the value added bundles that come with that MDaas service. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here in terms of time. We do want to get to the portal demo, but just in terms of how we work together with our customers, generally we'll have an initial call where we're either going through your environment. In other words, if you've provided Opkalla with your billing information, we can proactively run an audit and come back and say, here's the savings that we were able to find. Here's what that structure looks like. We'd love to jump on a call, do a little bit more of an in-depth conversation. Similar slide deck to what we've gone through today, but more tailored towards your organization, your environment, and your specific needs. Jump into a portal demo, answer any questions you may have from there. In terms of onboarding, migrating from the direct carrier to MetTel, we have a dedicated project team. They're called New Client Services. You have a project manager that's assigned to your account. They become your point person for new orders, managing the migration, getting all of the devices shipped to where they need to go. And again, whether that's individually shipping equipment to all of your end users, that's part of the program. No upcharge for that at all. But they will monitor and manage that entire process. We typically have weekly meetings, can even do bi-weekly depending on the urgency of the project. Generally speaking, projects take 60 to 90 days, and that's start to finish, from going through the initial project plan and kickoff, going through the entire scope, migrating your users, getting your folks trained on our portal, and then of course reviewing your first invoice. So 60 to 90 days, depending on your urgency around the project, because MetTel can really move quickly at scale, but it's important to work at a customer's timeline and pace. It's in everyone's best interest to get migrated as quickly as possible so that you're realizing those savings. And the goal is always to have those savings hitting your account within a quarter. So that 60 to 90 day window. So from here, we're going to transition over to the portal demo. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Paul. Looks like you might be muted, Paul. Is it just me?
No, it was me. It was operator error, or in the IT space, an ID10T error. One of the things I wanted to note, and we hear this a lot from our customers, the pandemic made a lot of businesses change the way they do business. And I know Jason hit on this, but this is really about simplifying and reducing the demand on IT staffs, whether large or small. The way we deploy this is very, very flexible based on what the customer wants. Some of our customers want everything shipped to the IT team and they handle it, but they're not dealing with procurement and they're not dealing with staging and kitting devices. Some customers who have smaller IT staffs want to be able to offload all of this, but be aware of what's going on at all times. So it really depends on how your business is organized, and that's why we like to have kind of individual conversations. But there's been a big shift in the industry here in the last couple of years, especially with the pandemic. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody see, or Jason, can you see my brilliant screen?
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm going to start real quick and talk about this first page. So this is the Bruin portal. This is actually a live customer account that's giving me permission to demo their account. And when you log in, this dashboard is totally customizable. But for this customer, they want to see all of their tickets. They have some pending orders that are being in process, some repairs, all their inventory in one place. and then their monthly average spend and the ability to order very quickly. So as an example, if they were to log into this ticket right here, you can see all of their pending tickets. When you go into an actual new order itself, the one thing that we find very important for a lot of our customers is that they have the ability to know where everything's at without chasing anything down, kind of like what Jason was talking about. So this is an order that started on December. This is a completed order, but it's already been shipped, and you see everything from what the device is, who it's going to, the port request was completed. All of that information is here historically, so you can go back and look at that data. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I did want to point that out. So Jason, I'm going to hand it back to you to go ahead and talk through the rest of it.
Perfect. So once again, the one of the benefits of this portal is just ease of use. So everything we're showing you, Paul mentioned, this is a live customer portal. You as our customer have full access. This is fully managed as well. You can throw anything over the fence, but you do have access to go in and make changes to your account, make changes to the labeling of employees, suspend lines in real time, provision SIM cards, deactivate lines. Again, you have full control to do so. So before we jump into that, Paul, thank you. But I want to just kind of cover what we're looking at here. So again, this particular customer uses both AT&T and Verizon. So you can see both of those carriers broken down. And where we're starting is essentially an inventory page. So this is showing everything associated with their account, the username, the phone number, the carrier that they're operating on. And then we have specific information around not only the device type, but make and model. So we see smartphone, tablet, MiFi, and then you have the make and model of the equipment. From there, you have the rate plan. Again, while we have one big giant data pool, you still have a specific rate plan for each user. And you can see where everyone is allocated right from this page here. Another important component is this column, IMEI and ICCID. This is the device information. If you've ever had to troubleshoot a device with a remote employee, carriers always need this information, and that's really fun to try and get from a remote employee. Having them go through their settings and try and screenshot. We have all of that information. So when you open a ticket, trouble ticket, upgrade, repair, whatever it may be, we know user, phone number, make, model, IMEI, ICC, we have all that information. So it's all tied to the ticket. So it's a really quick, easy, clean process to submit these tickets. You can see upgrade eligibility. Just like the carriers, we have a variety of ways to procure devices. 2-year subsidized pricing, that 2-year contract, finance, lease, outright purchase. So you're able to see if it's on a 2-year cycle when that device is eligible for upgrade. We also incorporate buddy upgrades. So if you have a user that's not eligible and you need to upgrade their device, they can just pull an available upgrade right from the account. From there, you can see a list of the tickets if applicable. So there's certain lines that looks like Obadiah Sierra has a ticket that's in progress. So this is really that snapshot view. You can drill into a user. You can go into the ticket or help desk page where you can see all of your tickets and their status, et cetera. And then the final thing, I talked about being able to edit or make changes. So if you have an employee that leaves the company and you need to suspend their line, maybe we're going to reuse that device, but it might take a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months to backfill the position. We can come in, suspend that line, remove the billing codes from that line, put it on a suspended plan, and then that actually flags that line in your system. So in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, when you go to when you go to order a new line for one of your employees, we can actually reuse that hardware and we can pull a report and show you, hey, you have 12 lines that are suspended that we can reallocate to one of these users. Again, just making sure you're reusing everything that you've paid for and not paying for services that aren't being used while that device is suspended. Paul, let's jump into the wireless usage from here.
I'll do that. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to note here is we actually keep all historical data. So even canceled lines are here. So you have all that historical data from start to finish.
Perfect. So this window does take about 10 seconds to load. And that was actually really fast. So what it's doing is pulling their usage in real time or near real time, right? This is updating about every 12 to 20 minutes, but it's as near real time as you can get. So the first thing we're seeing is their overall pool. So from left to right, status indicator of okay, we want to see that. What that's telling us is they have not run into any data overages and they're not trending towards overages this month. So at a glance, real quick, you log in, you see everything's okay, great, you can go about your day. And I'm going to go right to left, Paul. So we can see they have an overall limit or data allocation of about 3,500 gigs. Their current usage is 1792. So well within their allotment. And then our system will actually go out and say, based on your usage profile, based on where we're at in the billing cycle, you're projected to land at, it's hard for me to read that, 2,067 or so. So again, well within their overall pool. But what we can do is actually create notifications or intelligent actions, which are essentially if-then type scenarios of things you want to monitor. And one of the most important is my overall data usage. So right out of the box, we're notifying you when your overall pool is at 75% of your threshold, 80%, 90%, and so on, so that you know where everything's at without having to log in, and you know where you're at any given time in the month. Go ahead and expand that out, Paul. So again, keep in mind, they are not trending towards overages, no overage charges. But when we look at their actual usage, this is where that single pool of data really starts to benefit our customers. So we can see what this is doing now is showing individual users by line, and it's going to stack rank them from high user down to low. And this will continue to go on as Paul can show you can load more. But where we're at on the top, we can scroll back up real quick. This is showing some really high usage out of Elizabeth Guerrera. On the far right, you'll see she has a data plan of 2 gigabytes. So she's really cost effective, low cost plan on 2 gigs. And she's used well over 100 gigs so far. And our system's saying by the time the bill cycle cuts, she'll be at about 136 gigabytes. A couple advantages here. Number one, the obvious. She's paying for a low cost 2 gigabyte data plan. The big advantage here is they're really gaming the system. And then this is the intent of the single pool, right? Where they, in this case, Elizabeth can use far more than her allotment, and they're not getting penalized. They're not paying data overages because it's balancing out in the overall pool. So a huge benefit. Now think of this versus a carrier unlimited plan. Unlimited plans always have an element of data throttling. Maybe it's a 20 gig threshold, 22 gigs, whatever that threshold is. When they get there, the data becomes throttled and you're no longer on 4G LTE or 5G. In this case, Elizabeth is using 135 gigs of LTE or 5G data. At the carrier, going with 100, 200 gigabyte pool plan is very, very expensive, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So this is where that single pool of data really benefits our customers. Again, we can monitor the usage on individual lines. Some of you may be looking at this and say, well, I don't ever want to see 135 gigs. That's far too much. That's going to throw off my pool. So we can create these intelligent actions. And we won't go too deep into the woods here, but just to show you how easy this is. Again, we can create these for you, but you certainly have full access to come in and do this. So we can monitor the overall pool. Let's go with that, Paul, individual line. So this is basically saying, if a user exceeds 10 gigabytes, I want you to notify me. We're not necessarily taking action, but notify me. Notify the admin, notify their manager, or notify the end user. That's all customizable. And the threshold is customizable, as you can see. From there, we can actually also take action. So we see this a lot on secondary devices, MiFis, tablets, things like that, where it's not their primary line of service. And what we can do here is say, let's put a hard cap on that plan. So let's say our MiFis are on 2 gigabyte, or maybe let's say 5 gigabyte plans. We could say, if they exceed 15 gigs, in other words, if they've used 20 gigs in a month, go ahead and suspend that line and auto restore it at the beginning of the bill cycle. This will allow you to put a hard cap on those secondary devices, and you don't have to do anything. When it gets to 20 gigs, it automatically suspends that line. They can no longer use their MiFi. Beginning of the following bill cycle, it picks right back up again. And that's all customizable. You can, toggle what those parameters look like. And we can do this with zero usage. So Paul's highlighted the zero usage here. So if devices are sitting in a cabinet and maybe you forgot to cancel the line or suspend the line, certainly we can provide a report. Hey, here are the lines that haven't been used in 30 days. From there, maybe take it a step further and say, after 90 days of zero usage, go ahead and suspend that line or even disconnect that line. Again, automating all of that so you don't have to do that work. Certainly you're being notified along the way, but the actions are being automated through the portal. Paul, let's go ahead and jump into an order. So what we're going to show here, and you're going to disregard what Paul's doing here because we're logged in as MetTel employees to a live customer. So he just needed to find a user that is eligible to place orders. So Bruin is set up with hierarchy access. So only certain folks can actually place orders on the account. From there, you have a customized catalog with the different device types. So again, we stock and inventory every device type that's active in the carrier catalog. This is a customized window for this specific user that wants to see this subset of devices. So you can see some pricing there, Paul. If you want to just grab any phone, the iPhone 12 Pro would be perfect. So from here, this opens up the sub menu for the 12. I believe we selected the 12 Pro. So from here, this page is customizable as well. So we have color options, and from here, it really becomes point click. You're only able to see your contracted rate plans, so what's applicable to this user. So Paul selected an AT&T line on a 3 GB data plan. That's going to calculate the cost down at the bottom. So it's showing the one time. So if we keep scrolling here, we'll see why that one time is so high. Accessories, same story, subset of what they want to see for their accessory bundle. And then from here, this particular customer has two options for buying devices. That could be no contract, so just purchase the device outright, no contract tied to the line, or the mobile device as a service. So you'll see that's $1,218 for the one time. And if we go with the mobile device as a service, that drops it down to $19, adds that to the monthly on top of that 2 GB rate plan or 3 GB plan. We're going to stop here, but when we click add to cart, that actually triggers the email, the order into the system. You can create approval processes where whenever someone orders, it goes to a manager, it goes to one person to authorize. But once that order has been internally approved, that kicks over to our warehouse where we immediately start configuring that device and getting that ready for shipment. Looks like you're muted again, Paul.
I apologize. Yeah, if you want to pull up the slide deck, we'll pick back up here. So this is all very set up as an Amazon-esque style experience. The last thing we're going to talk about while Jason's pulling this up is POTS replacement. As everybody's aware, anybody who has a POTS line, POTS are beginning to be retired. They're becoming less regulated. As a standpoint for MetTel is one of the largest POTS aggregators in the country. And about 3.5, 4 years ago, we started getting notifications from the LECs, from the Verizons, AT&T, CenturyLinks of the world, that copper was going to begin to downturn. And while POTS are going to be going away, there's still probably a few more years of POTS. As an example, MetTel as an organization just renewed our agreements with all of the LECs for copper POTS for another 2 years. And the reason we did that is there's going to be a transitional period, but we're seeing a lot of customers with surcharges that are going high, and POTS line costs are going high. I've seen a $750 POTS line. More importantly, it's a lot harder to get support for these POTS lines because the copper is old, it's in the ground, and it's not working as well. So 3 or 4 years ago, we went out to find a solution, and to replace this aging infrastructure. So we landed on a product from a company called Data Remote, which we own a controlling stake of. And essentially what we've done is we've created a device with dual LTE backup, 24-hour battery backup, and it's actually made and UL listed and certified for alarm, elevator, fire panel, fax, modem traffic. Basically anything a POTS line can do, this product can do. It also comes as a fully managed install. Jason, if you go to the next slide. we actually deploy with multiple carriers. So this is actually what the device looks like. So up towards the top, you see the device. It can support up to 8 analog lines. We include it with a MIMO antenna for signal challenged areas. We also put it right on backboard. So we have a technician come out, screw it up to the wall, and cross connect to your existing copper infrastructure, your inside wiring. So there's not a whole massive rewiring of your services. It's come in, move the lines over, cross connect, and most importantly, on top of removing the trouble of having to deal with old analog pots and the increased cost, we typically save customers somewhere between 25 and 30% on their monthly spend around copper pots replacement. Now, I want to go back to what I said at the very, very beginning when we were talking about pots replacement. You don't have to move your POTS lines tomorrow. There is still some time. And again, MetTel has the ability to help you kind of aggregate and move all your POTS lines onto the Bruin platform. Everything we provide to any of our customers includes the Bruin platform at zero cost. So you get that full TIM functionality without paying more for it. And then once the copper POTS lines costs go too high, or you're having significant support issues, we can move it over to POTS in a box. So we can go straight to POTS in a box. We can help move POTS. So it kind of gives some flexibility on how we deploy it. When the tech goes out, they find the strongest signal, make the LTE carry the strongest signal. And again, all that data goes into your pool, just like we were talking about on the wireless. Jason, if we can go to the next slide. The last thing I'm going to talk about here, and I'm going to try to make sure I give John a few minutes here at the very end. What we've done with our POT solution and other solutions that we're not talking about today is we wanted to improve the customer experience. So right now, if you have a copper POTS line, you don't know if it's down until it's down. Or heaven forbid, someone's stuck in an elevator and there's a medical emergency and the line doesn't work. So we created a product that overlays all of our technology products called IPA. Yeah, kind of like the beer, but it's called Intelligent Process Automation. So prior to us laying over this product, let me move there we go. Manual triage took a human about 18 minutes to gather the information and about 36 minutes to take the next actionable item. Basically, you go to the next slide for me. When we overlaid IPA, Intelligent Process Automation, the triage was actually done by artificial intelligence. And it says, okay, the issue needs to go to a carrier for repair. The issue needs to go to our NOC for investigation or to another tier. And instead of taking 18 minutes to gather information, it actually happens instantaneously with artificial intelligence. Now, the next best action may take about a minute to do, and that may involve human hands touching it. So on top of kind of streamlining and simplifying your technology needs, this platform, which we include at no additional cost, also kind of manages that process for you. Jason, you can go to the next slide for me. I think it's the last one. Last item, again, for the POTS replacement. So we have direct access into the PSTN, which is the public telephone system, the analog system. So additionally, on our POTS in a box product, we provide private IPs. So instead of using public internet and dealing with the ambiguity of the public internet, that traffic can go straight to our POPs all over the country and give you a strong solution. Jason, I think that's our last slide. I think we can pass it back to John. John, the floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Jason, Paul, fantastic stuff, gentlemen. And if you guys want to go to that next slide, Jason, that'd be great. And I want to plug MetTel additionally as well. I know they talked about their MDM offerings, obviously POTS in a box as well. But if anyone else has any other questions regarding their other offerings, by all means, right? Hit them up, hit us up. We would love to set up that meeting because they're not just a one-trick pony. They do a lot of very, very cool stuff. And we've had a lot of success with them in the past and looking forward to obviously more moving forward here. So gentlemen, appreciate you guys very much. Great job. We have recorded this conversation, this webinar as well for everybody watching. I know there's probably people that you may want to pass this along to as well, whether it's coworkers or colleagues in the industry. etc. We will have a recording of this webinar going out via email in the next couple of days. So you guys can have this information at your disposal as well. Okay. But lastly, to finalize this webinar here, the gift you have all been waiting for, that $50 Amazon gift card, will very much be coming to you if you guys set up a meeting with us and MetTel. Okay. And you can do that by emailing Bryce Ulrey at his email address that you can see right here. A follow-up email will also be sent out with these steps to lock that meeting in as well, and to get you that gift card by setting up that meeting and attending that meeting there too. So with that, again, I just want to conclude by saying thank you to MetTel for you guys doing this with us today. We very much hope this brought value to everybody listening, and very much looking forward to meeting with you and having a conversation on how MetTel can help your organizations moving forward. So with that, hope everyone has a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we will see you guys soon. Thank you very much.